Dom's here with us, and our very special guest today, joining us from parts unknown, Mr. Bobby Vega. How are you doing, Bobby?
Hey,
What's going on?
you guys! I was so happy to hang with y'all because I've been watching your show, and it's like cool.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I see you comment in on previous shows, and it was like it's always been in the back of my mind. It's like, man, we got to get Bobby on here, and then we had connected, and here you are now.
I know I
So
felt bad because I can't text too well, so I went, oh yeah, and I said something, and you went, oh yeah, he said something about '60s amplifiers, and I wasn't talking about '60s.
oh,
Dino,
oh, yeah, I got to let me turn on my
yes,
silence my
sure.
notifications here.
Rogers. Who can it be now?
There we go. It's like romper room,
Yeah,
you know.
it's Nancy.
Okay,
And as always, we've got the comments coming in already. With Paul from, I think Paul, you're in the UK actually, I believe, right? So he's saying hello. Man, where do we start? I know when I was putting the notes together for this, I was like, there's so much to talk about. So where do we start?
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So what have you, so let's start from today. What have you been up to, Bobby?
I've been staying low and watching it all go by.
Yeah.
If you look at YouTube and all these other things, you just go,
But you've been busy though, too, haven't you?
yeah, I've been making my own gravy. I mean, I'm not trying to go out there and try to do gigs because what's a gig nowadays to people?
Yeah, true. What is a gig nowadays?
All what I hear about is how many people aren't happy about, man, they're playing for tips or they don't want to play with this person or that or whatever that it is. But I feel blessed, man, because happiness is having a job or being able to play your instrument.
Right. Right.
That's the rich, that's the happy part if you can get to it.
Yeah. But so I guess let's go back to the beginning here a little bit. So
Yes.
you were born and raised in San Francisco in the Bay Area.
Yes.
And I know I'm reiterating stuff that you and I have always talked about, but this is pretty much for anybody that's joining us. So you got your first gig at 15?
15 or 16, yeah. I used to work at a music store called Donware's Music City.
Okay.
And before I was playing or learning how to play, I used to go to every hock shop and music store in San Francisco. And you can sit there and you watch people try stuff out, and that's where you can learn how to play.
Yeah.
And I used to hang all the music stores, and people would try stuff out, and I'd watch them play. And I went to this music store called Donware's Music City, and I hung out so much that they threw a polish cloth at me. They said, hey, man, you might as well start working here, start polishing cars. So I started polishing cars, playing, and then they said, okay, and they made me the warehouse boy.
Okay.
So I would be in the back of the warehouse, and they'd go, oh, can we get our warehouse boy to come out and demonstrate this? So they'd give me the bass, and I'd play, and they'd push all the buttons, and they would sell it. And then they'd go, hey, Bobby, go get me a PV 215 or get me an acoustic 150 or go get me the Rhodes. And after you finish demonstrating, then I'd have to go fetch it and put it in their car. But that's how I started meeting people. And that's how one of the things early on of connections or being seen.
Yeah.
Or, so people, people started talking or whatever ish.
Yeah. And is that store still there now?
No. I think now it's a laundromat.
Oh gosh. Okay. Wow.
Donware's Music City. It was the biggest store in the Bay Area, and it was like a rock and roll store, like Sly, Santana, everybody, the Who, everybody that came through town came to the store.
Okay.
And Don was almost like a rock star, actor, flamboyant.
Right.
If we ain't got it, you don't want it.
Yeah. Perfect philosophy, right?
Yeah. So I graduated from DWU, Donware's University.
Nice.
It was almost like The Sopranos too.
Yeah.
Because all kinds of stuff was happening.
Now you say Don Ware, is relationship to Bob Ware?
I don't think so.
Okay. I was just curious.
Hawaiian descent.
Okay.
you know, or well, I don't want to say the wrong thing,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, but really a great learning soil,
Yeah.
and because I was around all the gear.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite thing, because when I would go to concerts and stuff, I'd stand in front, and I'd see what they're playing and how they're playing, and then go to the hot shops and then look at the stuff. And you know, I was looking at 50s stuff in early 70, you know,
Yep.
the basses and guitars, because there was different stores around.
Sure.
That's how I learned about them. Ish.
Sure. And to this day, I still, like, people will ask, like, how did I get into the business of, you know, working for a manufacturer and this and that? And it kind of came down to the same thing. You work in a music store. Like, if you want to ingrain yourself into a local music scene, I know there's not as many music stores around you know, today, but that was what we did. You'd go, you know, you'd go work at a music store, you'd hang out, you'd talk to other musicians. Hey, you're a bass player. Yeah, I'm looking for, and things just kind of happen naturally, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's the way I got into my music community. And Dino had cables from my hometown music store the other day. He was just like wrapping cables. I was like, wait, what does that say on the cable?
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and that was the thing, because of, you know, and not to, this is just, you know, like history. It's not like, oh, I used to walk through the snow to get this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if you wanted to get a job somewhere, if you wanted to be a mechanic, you worked at the gas station.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to learn how to work in the machine shop, you got a job at the machine shop, and they taught you, or whatever. Our carpenter, you hung out with people building houses. They'd say, grab a hammer, and you know, we're a kid, and they would show you the trade.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how I got it. Or they, you know, the old actors, how'd you get the job? Oh, you have to go to the mail room first. So anyway,
Right.
that was
Right.
a good way back then to
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
times have changed now, and evolved or devolved, whatever you want to call it. Quack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is that how you got your gig? Your first like really
Yes.
big gig was with Bo Diddley?
Yes, and that's what happened. This guy Jake come in, you know, with an old Les Paul and old ratty hair, but man, could play his ass off. And he goes, "Hey, Bobby, man, you want to go play with Bo Diddley?" I said, "Bo who?" I said, "Man, I don't care." Sure.
Great.
And,
Yeah.
and we opened up. In other words, I played at the Fremont Drag Strip with Bo Diddley, and the Tubes opened up.
Wow.
And that's where I met Prairie Prince. And he
Okay.
produced he's been my angel mentor for all these years, since I was like 16, 15. Because I'm bad with time. It's like, you know, now I woke up and I'm 67, not to try to brag. So it's like, man, I'm 5 decades past 15, and I moved out of the house when I was 15. So,
Wow.
Right. Right. Man. Yeah. You're a young 67. I will say that.
well,
So
God bless you, and I know you didn't sneeze, but now it's what I really like to do is what we're doing is to pass on and hope, inspire, and you know, just to, because there's so many different ways how to do this.
Yeah.
So let's go from there.
yeah. Yeah. Now, from Bo Diddley, and I was listening to this yesterday. Man, 16 years old, you were recording with Sly.
Yeah, it was 16 or 17, because I'm, like I said, but I think it was before I got married, and I got married when I was 17.
Okay. Well,
The first
you did everything young.
run for it.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of weird. I went from like the beginning to the end, and then now I'm starting to understand the middle. You know, it's like, shit, that's what, oh man, oh Lord.
It's like eating the donut from the outside and finding out what the filling is.
Yeah.
And then going, hey man, you mean I could just buy the circles, the little
Yeah. But so even back then, you had the pick thing, and I'm assuming like High on You. Again, I was listening to it yesterday, and I didn't know that was you playing on that, but
oh, okay.
you were doing your funky pick, everything on that track.
Yeah, I was really lucky, because my neighborhood that I grew up in, or the San Francisco, that whole soil of the Bay Area, not just San Francisco or Oakland. Oh yeah, Oakland's funky. No, the whole Bay Area.
Yeah.
Just like the Tri-States, Tri-Cities, you know, all that, and Texas and New York and Philadelphia. A long time ago, they all had like their brogue. Hey man, what?
Yeah.
you know, whatever, right? And just whatever slang. Well, that's what I grew up. So what I was doing, I was imitating Rocco.
Because
Because
Rocco was big in the Bay Area at that point too.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, Tower of Power. I grew up seeing Cold Blood at concerts and Tower of Power, Santana, Sly,
Yeah.
Yes, Purple, Led Zeppelin. San
Yeah.
Francisco saw a lot of concerts.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, the Chambers Brothers, and I can keep on going and going and going. I mean, and that's where, you know, it's like almost being a vampire. You get bit, now you're stuck.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's about, and I learned how to do it because I thought it was cool and it was fun. I didn't think about money or girls or whatever that the other extra pieces of chicken or whatever everybody goes, yeah, that's what I want to do. I saw the Beatles. Look at all the girls. I want to do. It's like, no, man, I want to play. That's cool.
Right. Right.
That was my hit on it.
Man. And yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like just some of the great the great bands that were coming out of the Bay Area and still come out of the Bay Area too. But back then, you know, like you said, Tower of Power, Chambers Brothers, Sly.
Well, that's Bill Graham. He brought those acts to the Carousel Ballroom, and then the other
Sure.
was Chad Helms, right, the Family Dog.
Yeah.
And I ran into him by accident because there used to be a place called Playland at the beach in San Francisco.
Okay.
And that's where you would have all these rides. It was almost like Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk.
Yep.
Well, as the years went on, it turned into a skating ring and then all Slack Our Place. And then when the spill came with the birds where the oil slick or whatever spilled and killed, we were helping clean the birds out. And I walked in one day and the guy goes, hey, man, you want to come to a concert? He said, yeah. He said, can you scrub floors? I said, yeah. So he had me scrub the floors. So I'd scrub the floors at the Family Dog and I'd get into the concert free. So I'd get to see sound check like Kaleidoscope, Bob Moog with the synthesizers,
Yeah.
all I mean, just Big Mama Thornton. So that was my environment. Like,
Wow.
13, you know what I mean? Early on, it was just like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Man,
Man,
Yeah.
just and I will say that just from saying yes, saying yes.
Well, yeah. And then the other thing is that when I first started playing, I couldn't really play with my fingers or thumb accurately. So I saw all these guitar players doing all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to play with a pick. So I went to Cress's and bought a $1 ukulele because it came with a pick. And I started practicing pick on the ukulele. That it wasn't in tune or anything because you couldn't tune it. But I just started going in between it and stuff and then watching guitar players.
Wow.
But I played bass. But the sound that they were doing, because they were doing the pinched harmonics back then.
Yep.
And all this and no pedals, right? Because nobody was stepping on nothing. They were playing. Here's the chord, here's your amplifier. And me just turn it up. Bang,
Yeah.
you know, so
the tone knob was actually used for stuff.
it was your hands.
Yeah.
Right. And did you turn the tone knob down? How much did you turn the volume knob down? If you wanted to get to the store, turn the knob down, then open that sucker up. Right. And then where you hit it on the guitar in the circumference between the bridge, right, and the neck.
Yep.
Where the tone changed with your fingers or hands or a pick. So watching all those and then being able to do club gigs and play gave you a lot of to hone it all.
Yeah. Yeah. But you still
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I mean, you play a lot with your fingers too. I mean, you play with everything.
Well, without trying to say anything like an ass, I can take your eye out with my fingers, pick or my thumb. It doesn't matter, right? But one of the tricks is, can you use all three?
Yeah.
And they all live together. So now it's just a tonal thing.
Yeah.
Right? Or how fast the note or what it sounds like. It doesn't matter, you know. But can you do that and then play with a pick in your fingers and change the song?
Right.
As far as how much this way, that way, or feeling or emotion. And
in
the way
fact,
right is if everybody was. If they look like they'd have to go to the bathroom.
I think I have. Hold on. Oh, this might be.
Yeah, it's around here somewhere.
It's around here somewhere, and it's worn out because I've been using it.
Austin,
but
oh yeah, is that a 73? Yeah, Tortex.
And this was one of your picks, and on the back of it, it had thumb.
Oh,
I forget, like you had something like thumb, fingers,
yeah,
and then a
thick
pick.
fingers, thumb, because it
Yeah,
doesn't matter which one you use as long as people are you're happy and people are happy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yep,
I mean, people don't nowadays. I mean, what they used to say about, oh man, you ain't supposed to play with a pick. Look, man, if you like the way it sounds, you weren't looking at it. You were just
Right.
dancing or you were grooving. They didn't go, oh, you're playing with a pick, get out of here.
yeah, yeah.
I
No,
remember
that's
Or
being,
your finger, your thumb,
yeah.
right?
When
You
I
know,
first started playing, it was like finger players were in this category. If you had a pick, you were like kind of
yeah.
lesser than in this category.
Well, it's almost like saying, oh yeah, no, he only eats grilled cheese sandwiches.
Right. Yeah.
it's true.
you know,
Now,
go ahead.
no, you taught me a really valuable lesson about picks too, and I never realized this, but picks have different sounds to them. And I remember you taking different picks and bouncing them off the table.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So you
I mean,
picked
I got like about 6 of these full of different picks and different. But anyway, yeah, there's different ways that you can tell them, and the best thing to do is play with a bunch till you go, oh, I like this one.
Play it until keep on going through picks until you don't suck, like you were saying earlier.
Well, I mean, the what do you call them what they're made of? Anyway, bad word. Too much. I got to download. They all sound different. The
Yeah.
alloy that they're made from, or whatever they're made from, and then the thickness is if you use a thicker one, it's going to be louder. But what you do is you lighten your touch, so you're not blowing out your wrist and hurting it, hitting it too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
lighten your touch up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you get a little more velocity or different sounds. And that's all it is just finding the right thickness that you're happy with, the size. And it's just like your fingers. Do you use part of your fingernail when you play?
Right.
Or can you control it where you got nail and finger?
Mhm.
And then if you want, instead of that, you can go backwards and go pop, bang, and hit with the back of your finger.
Yep.
And so there's many ways to get to Sesame Street.
Yeah. that is too cool. Now, I know we've talked about this too, but there have been more and more players coming out with picks. I mean, obviously, granted,
They've been around since the
Yeah.
down the one, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that argues playing with a pick, ask yourself, Paul McCartney, Chris Squire, Carol Kay,
And where did it come from? It all came from somebody else where they inspired you, or else you couldn't do it. So what are you supposed to do? Shoot yourself and not play?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
right.
do it any way that you could get it done.
Yeah.
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 I'm sorry.
Man.
Go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, no. I was just reiterating the same thing about the pick. But so were you on to jazz basses at that point?
Yes. Well, at first, my first real bass was a Gibson EB1.
Okay.
And the Gibson EB1 got me fired and got me called a bunch of racial slurs.
Wow.
Because I was in a funk band, right?
Yeah.
Or a soul band, right? Or an R&B band. And I had a Gibson bass. And all you can hear was,
Yep.
right? And what happened was I saw a mountain with Felix Lottie, or whatever, Lotta.
Yeah.
And, going through all those Sun amps and Leslie West and Corky Lang, boy, that shit was devastating. So I could have got a Telecaster, Paisley Pink, right?
Yeah. There's that pink bass again.
Yeah. Or EB1. And I got the EB1 because I saw a mountain. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wish I had that one now because I know what to put it through and how to play it.
Right. Yeah.
But playing R&B and soul music in a thing where it's a percussive instrument too. The EB1 sunk my biscuit.
Yeah.
So I saw P basses, and then I saw John Paul Jones and Larry Graham, right?
Yep.
Using jazzes, and I went, and then even the guy in Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah.
And I went, Okay. And so I learned how to work a jazz bass. So P bass is killing. P bass is like a shovel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can use it. You'll make music on it, you know.
Yeah.
But I've learned how to go to the instrument instead of the instrument, because the instrument doesn't go to you. It's like what Chet Atkins used to say. They go, "Hey man, that guitar sounds really good." And he goes, put it down. He goes, "How's it sound now?" You know, hey man, that's, well, he ain't lying.
Yeah.
So
That's
I mean, how to go to them, right? And so I prefer a jazz bass just because I can do so many things on it. It's almost like Jeff Beck, what he can do with a Strat.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not for everybody, right? And
Right.
but I love P basses too. You know what I mean? Basically, I love a lot of different instruments, and that's almost been my downfall too, because people want you to either play a jazz bass or a P bass, or if you play an F bass, you can't play a Federa, and if you play a Federa, you can't play an NTD, and then
Right.
what? All
Yeah.
bass. It's like, man,
Yeah.
I'll just stop, because whatever makes you happy, then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they all have a sound.
Yeah.
And if you can get the information out of them, or learn an amplifier to pair them up with so you can hear the information,
Yeah.
that's key.
Yeah.
And if not, okay, well, there's many ways, right? 10 people can do the same thing and get a different result.
Yeah. 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 I find like today, younger players become more gear or brand centric. Like I only play this type of bass, or I only play that type of bass.
Yeah.
And I think they're missing out on a lot of things.
Well, you know, that's another thing about life. You don't know until you realize it.
Yeah.
And until then, can't nobody tell you nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
Until you go, oh, that's what that is. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You know what I mean? And that's just experience or learning.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Speaking of that, can I say hi to my son Rocco? Hey, Rocco.
Absolutely.
Hi, Rocco.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Is he watching in today?
I think he is. I think he texted me. He said, "Hey, Dad, I'm watching." I usually don't try to wake him up if he's asleep or not. It's like, oh.
Now is Rocco playing now too, or is he following in the footsteps? Or
I mean, I don't think he's. I think he's past the footsteps of it. He's just doing what he does with it, you know.
yeah,
And it's funny because I named my son Rocco after Rocco, the bass player in Tower.
right.
And I fooled my wife by it because I said, you know, we found out it was going to be a boy. And I said, "Oh, can we call him Rocco?" And she said, "Oh, Rocco, what a lovely name." Right. And she didn't know that I was naming him after the Tower.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, you know, that's an honor to Rocco Prestia as
Yes.
well as an honor to your son too.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
no, that's I named him. Yeah, I named that Rocco just because I never tried to copy what Rocco did, but his playing always made me feel happy, and it gave me pace and sound. I said, yeah,
Right.
woo! You know,
Yeah.
felt like that, right. That was a happy feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was lucky enough. Rocco was old enough when Bass Player Magazine gave Rocco his Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's right.
I took my son out of school and I had Rocco give Rocco his Lifetime Achievement Award, Bass Player Alive.
I remember that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rocco goes, one time, Rocco was at the trade show, Prestia, and I said, "Hey, Rocco, man, you know, here's a pic." He goes, "Yeah, Bobby, I'm really flattered, man, that you named your son Rocco, but if you really fucking meant it, you would have named him Francis."
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. From the few times I've met Rocco, that I can hear that coming out of him too.
Oh,
you know,
he was so real and cool. So
yeah,
it's just, you know, it just makes me happy because that's where I play from the spirit of those people that influence me because through feelings.
Yeah.
Let alone later on, if you're lucky enough to talk to them, you know, information that you get, even out, because you don't spend hours talking to these people. Once in a while, you can spend 5 minutes.
Right.
And then they say something, you go, "Oh shit.
Yeah.
Thank you." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Now you played you filled in for Rocco for a while too in TOP, right?
Yes. And it was, that was a trip.
I can imagine.
Yeah, because, you know, like doing gigs is a trip because you can learn the song at home. And so we used to learn on the record, go, okay.
Right.
And I couldn't play like them. I couldn't get them verbatim, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I imitated the feel
Yep.
of the whole band.
Yeah.
And so to me, my favorite Tower was Bump City record and What Is Hip record.
Yep.
So that's what I did. So I imitated that. And when I did that, that's where I was playing from, in the spirit of Rocco and trying to swing or in the spirit of that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Rather than, you know, most of the time when, you know, if you're filling in for somebody or you're in a gig that is technically somebody else's gig, you're always trying to comp note for note.
It's hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which version do you want me to copy? Is it the live version? Is it
Right.
this? Right.
Right.
It's just so hard. The other thing too that's really difficult, and this is what I was, thank you, I'm going to get back to this. You can learn it. Now, can you play it in a band?
Right.
Now, can you play it with the band that wrote it at the Fillmore?
Yeah.
Because it's like going to the batting cage and hitting the ball.
Yeah.
Now, can you hit it when you're in the Little League game? Can you hit it in the college game? Now, can you play it to a sold out crowd?
Right.
At 1,200 seats, 2,000 seats with the artist.
Yeah.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's a whole different business.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's, you know, yeah, it's, you know, can you sink a 20-foot putt? Yes, I can. Can you sink a 20-foot putt in the finals of the PGAs when there's $1 million on the line?
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
Everything else, right? And then we're supposed to say, well, no, I'm going to go to Disneyland.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so there's that stuff, right?
Right.
But the thing is that we're all made up, right, from our experiences. So any way that you can get the experience, right, this is your time. And
Yeah.
we all had ours. And that's what it is that, you know, whatever way that you can get it done, right? But if you need some help, right, messenger, you know, me or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And help us, you know, this is your life and your stories to go do, right?
Yeah.
That's why the whole signature thing is like, do you get gum with that instrument? It's like, no, that instrument, you bought it, that's yours now. Now you're going to make your destiny with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And that is your signature instrument from that point on.
You know what I mean? That's what you got. That's what always used to baffle me. Like when you see all these guys that, like with Les Pauls and old Strats and old basses, next thing you know, in the 80s, right? They got the purple one, the headstock going this way. And you're going to go, man, what happened to the other one? You don't sound like, hey, mister, you got no more clothes on.
Yeah.
Was different. You went, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can play past though that.
Yeah.
But people though, you really heard it and you went, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
But there's, you know, in fact, I was having this conversation Friday with one of our other artists. He was in town with a band called the Classic Rock Band. His name's Wayne Banks. He's touring the US from the UK. He pulled out this, I think it was a 78 P bass.
Yeah.
And he handed it to me. He says, I've had that bass since I was 15. Like, this has been my main bass since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Great.
And I was like, there's a lot to be said when you've been playing the same instrument for that. Like, you've learned on that instrument, like your DNA is built into that particular instrument. Like, you know, uh-oh, something's buzzing here. Let me get rid of that. So yeah, I guess, you know, my point being is like, you know, like you would, is it a 61, the Shark bass? You've been playing that bass, although you have a bunch of other basses. Would you consider that kind of like the closest thing to an extension to you, where you've had that bass for so long and
yes,
your DNA is in that instrument?
You're absolutely right, because, you know, what happens is I think is that it's a relationship, right? And I don't know if you can see that. Wait, that's what that bass used to look like.
Yep.
No way. Wow.
When I first got it. And if you look at that bridge, right? That's the bridge that became the Badass Bass 2, because
No
that
way.
wasn't made until I got together with Glenn, and he said, "Hey, you want to put a badass on your bass?" And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "Okay, we're gonna route it." And I said, "How about F you, you mother?" And I cut, right. And he said, "What?" I said, "You heard me." So then, but you know, here's what it looks like now.
Right. That's
Wow.
that same bass. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the face, and it's the same face too. It's different, right? But that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wore out the back because I used to try to be like Jimi Hendrix. I wore a concho belt, used to get high and play, and I wore all the paint off, and I kept on sweating in it, right? And my friend, I said, "Hey, Billy, man, you got any?" His name's Billy Stapleton, taught me about old guitars. So I said, "Billy, you got anything I could put on the back?" He said, "Hold on, man, I got it." And he pulled out the shark. I said, "Oh, cool." So we put the shark on the back of it, right? Wait, yeah, I can't. Oh, there.
Hence the shark bass.
Yeah. So
Love
people
it.
started calling it the shark bass. And then I played the Tonight Show with Etta James, and Milton Berle was on it. And so what I did was, the first guy that I saw on TV when I was a kid on those big square black and white TVs was Milton Berle smoking a cigar in a dress. And I saw Milton Berle there, and I said, "Oh," and excuse my language, I said, "Oh, F it, man. I'm going to go ask him." I said, "Mr. Berle," I said, "can you sign my bass?" He goes, "All right, kid. Where do you want me to sign it?" And I flipped it over, right? And he goes, "I'll sign it on the fucking fish."
Oh my
So
God.
that's
cool.
how that, right? We all got stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking
But
of, and you had mentioned like the EB1 thing.
Yeah.
Is there any other like big triumphs or big failures on a stage that you remember that really like was a great lesson that you're just like, oh, I'm so happy that happened because I learned this? Or
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, here's some old shit. So you know the difference between a great solo and a good solo? You do. I know you do. You
No, I want to hear
I
this.
know the answer, but I'm starting up.
10 feet.
What was it? I didn't hear it. I was like,
10 feet.
all right.
So you go to the front of the stage,
Yep. Yep.
like Gene Simmons. And you go, there you go. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm working with the Jefferson wheelchair, not to be confused with the Jefferson Starship.
You got it.
And so, and that was with Paul Kantner and Marty Ballin versus Mickey Thomas. That was the evil ship and the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So I did time on both ships. So Prairie Princess playing drums, thank goodness. So we're playing White Rabbit, and before White Rabbit, you get a bass solo. So I went to the front of the stage,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden I went bing, bing, hugga boom, bing, and I started doing a triplet with my thumb, and all of a sudden I hear, "That ain't the way it goes." And I went, "Oh shit!" So I turned the back pickup off, went to the front pickup, and I cupped it, and I went ping, ping, boom, 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 ping, and I heard, "That's the way it goes."
Who was it that was saying that?
Paul Kantner. So that's a lesson, because
Yeah.
doing a gig, like, okay, I've been lucky. I played bass chairs. What I mean by that, you go see, right, the Jefferson Airplane
Yeah.
or Jefferson Starship. There were Jack heads there. Jack Cassidy. Jack is one of the Godfather.
Yeah.
Sure.
Tone. He was one of the first guys, right, who taught me about tone by playing and showing me. I used to go to Olympic and watch their basses being made for like $3,000 or $4,000 in late '60s, early '70s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're doing a bass chair, so they're expecting Jack. So guess what? Imitate that vibe and that sound.
Yeah.
So if you get a gig with somebody, play that material in the spirit of that, because that's what you're being hired for.
Yeah.
So imitate that. So that's what I learned. And then playing Tower Power gig, man, that's a bass chair. That's Rocco.
Yeah.
And Rocco helped me with that. When they were doing the record, Sold Out, the last one, it was a killing record. You got to check that. Oakland Zone.
Yep.
I mean, it was called Oakland Zone. And I had some pictures of Rocco, my son. And I said, "Hey, Jeff, can you give these to Rocco?" And Jeff goes, "Hey, man, why don't you come down to the studio and give them to Rocco?" I went, and I said, "Okay." So I was with Rocco, and Rocco goes, "Hey, man, walk with me." So I walked with him. I gave him the pictures, He goes, "Hey, man, this gig's going to be good for you." And I said, "What are you talking about?" "I'm fucking sick, man. I'm going in the hospital." I said, man, I can't play like you. And he goes, I can't fucking play like you either. That was a freeing moment because I wasn't trying to play like him. I was playing in the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So when I would go do the gig, with Tower, somebody go, oh, well, you missed a note or whatever. And I just start cracking up, right? Because I was playing in the spirit
Yep.
Yeah.
of the sound of that thing. I can't play like him. But Rocco made me comfortable with that because he's let me play like I play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Because I can't play like you and you can't play like me.
Yeah.
So I got playing the feel that I grew up with, just like I played High on You. I was playing Rocco.
Yeah.
That groove. Like it's almost like where they got that from. I heard Folklore, so don't cuss me out, from I'm Going Down.
Okay.
My Freddie King.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody gets influenced or inspired by somebody else, and then we put it out the way that we can do it.
Sure. Yeah. And he just, I got to like, coming from Rocco to you, I can imagine he basically just freed you from that preconception.
My heart and soul, because when you go do a gig, which version do you do?
Yeah. You do your version.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I did that gig with no rehearsal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no rehearsals with them. I was up in Canada and I had a gout attack, so I had a gout boot on. Flew down to what was the Greek Theater in LA from Canada after trying to pay the band and chasing the promoter around till 6 a.m, trying to get the money.
Man.
Jumped on a plane with a gout boot, going down to the Greek Theater, and I'm on stage.
Wow.
And I got a gout boot on, and Rocco's out in the audience. And I'm playing, and Emilio goes, hey, man, what song you want to play? I said, I don't know. And he goes, come here. I went, what? He goes, we've done this without a bass player, man. So what song you want to do? And I went, shit, Soul with a capital S. That was my first gig, man. I didn't have no rehearsals.
Wow.
And Rocco was in the crowd.
Rocco was in the audience there because he just had been through his operation. Rocco came back in 4 months from a liver transplant to get the gig back. And that's what I said. Rocco's coming back, man. Rocco's back.
Yeah.
You got the gig. I said, no, man, I'm the stunt double.
I'm the stunt double.
Yeah, I'm the stunt.
I want to segue because I got to get off of here for a second, but I also might have somebody, a guest here within a few minutes, but I want to switch to Eric has a cool question. There's a few questions for Bobby that I want to kind of cherry pick.
Oh, you got it, or you want me to get it?
Yeah, if you get it, I'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
So Eric is asking, question for Bobby, your tones and playing are so great. How much of that is attributed to the amp speaker that you're using, or is it more playing personal? Is it more playing personal playing style or other attributes?
I think that you have to pick the amplifier and your instrument. And I have many. So if you can free yourself and not try to use this one or that one, then you can hear your instruments, and that helps you, just like an instrument will open you up to inspire you to play.
Yeah.
But sometimes some instruments or some amplifiers don't like each other, and then the information doesn't come out.
Yep.
Like tonal. Some, just like on a bass, like if you take a 55p bass, which is the Telecaster pickup, if you want to say that, magnet under the string.
Yeah.
P bass pickup with a domino, right? I call it, the two pickups, like, the split coil.
Yeah.
And you take a jazz bass, if you play them all acoustically, they'll read all the information. When you plug them in an amplifier and try to do a pinch harmonic and all this other stuff, the pickups won't pick up the information because of the circumference of where the pickup is in the scale length.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same way with amplifiers, some amplifiers have the information and sometimes the cabinets won't reproduce. Right. So you have to pick out where's your reference point and that kind of thing to start hunting down. And if you turn your instrument all the way off and you play something and then you turn your amplifier on, does it pick up that information?
Yeah.
And that's how, where I can talk about that now, but I didn't know about that until now because it took all that time to figure that out to go, oh, because I'm just trying to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the short version.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's 8s, 5s, 12s, 15s, or 18s, backloaded, front loaded. You just have to find,
Yeah.
your happy spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
long biscuit there.
no. That's great information. And it's something, again, it gets into the, it gets into the discussion of, the gig, the sound you're going for, your playing style, what tool are you going to bring to this gig that's going to do the gig the best way that tool can for you,
Yeah, totally different day. I mean, that's what's really hard about doing a gig. So when I go on a gig, if I do now, or who knows what's going to happen, I bring a direct box, I have a fresh set of strings, and I know what the chord sounds like. And that's what's going to go out in front, not the amp.
Yeah. True.
Right.
Yeah.
It's because if you want to be in the mix, you're not going to hit the back of the room with your amplifier.
Yeah.
Turn down and get a sweet spot and let the PA guy do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you let him to capture your tone and put it out there.
Yeah.
But it's out of your.
Very true. Very true. And to take that even further, you also taught me a valuable lesson a long time ago too, because I was always no matter what bass, it's got to be stainless steels. And I remember we had this conversation, and it was like, no, not necessarily, man, because some basses work better with these types of strings, whether they're nickels I remember you proved it to me with a couple of your jazz basses. Like one bass had a set of nickel strings on it, sounded fantastic. Another bass had another different type of string. So it's not like, don't be so tunnel visioned into a specific set of strings or a specific instrument or even a specific amplifier for that matter.
It's just you have to find your own balance, because 10 people can play the same instrument and sound totally different.
Right.
That's a part of it. And strings are expensive, so hopefully you're able to, learn how to get sounds or be able to afford the different luxuries, because stainless steels. I mean, there's different ways. So if you messenger me, that's the best way, I guess, to get a hold of me is like Facebook Messenger or Instagram. Yep. I can address some of those things because, nowadays this company don't want you to talk about this company. It's like, man, there's so many different sounds that you can achieve. You can't lock yourself into it. So if you can afford that luxury, hopefully I can, like I said, messenger, and we'll figure something out to get some information to help individuals.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, I know you're, if anybody's wondering, I know you're always accessible on the Facebook and social media.
I'm learning how, because I was ducking down like Pugsatani Phil. Just because, I mean, it's hard to be up on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, because your butt's on the fence and anybody could say anything. And I don't care what anybody says, when you read something, it affects you.
Yeah.
That's a tough room, man.
Yeah.
Now, all that stuff. So,
Speaking of tough rooms, I want to just have another guest drop in here.
Oh,
Mr. John.
Oh. Hey, wait a second.
What's up, fellas?
What are you doing there? You're supposed to be in Calabasas picking up your stuff.
But they forgot he had the cover to the new speaker, so I had to come by and grab it. But it's convenient. Dom's right on the way home, so
oh my gosh!
And he was like, "Come say hi."
Yeah.
Now, John, do you know Bobby? Do you guys know one another? Have you ever met?
No, but I'm a huge fan, Bobby. Love your playing.
Oh, thank you. It's a small world, huh?
It is a small little bass world.
What a pleasant surprise.
All right, I'm gonna fly.
I gotta fly too, actually.
Good seeing you, John.
Here, send me a shirt, man. That's a cool shirt.
John's actually, I think he's heading out in the next few days. He's doing some gigs with Roger Daltrey. So
cool. That's the bass player in the Who.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Roger Daltrey. So there's a Roger Daltrey band too?
Yeah. Roger's solo thing and then the Who.
Oh, cool. Well,
but
woohoo!
But he it's funny, you had mentioned something earlier, and I was thinking about a video that John was this is all coming full circle here. There was a video that John was doing on I think it was Scott's bass lessons, and they were asking him how he approached playing Bob O'Reilly on a P bass. And it's exactly what you were just mentioning. Like, Entwistle had a certain way of playing it. You can play those three notes, F, C, B flat, but if you're not approaching it the way that, the way that John originally approached it, I guess, Entwistle, it'll still sound like the song, but it doesn't sound like the way he was playing it, sort of thing. Like you were saying with White Rabbit,
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, man, that's why there's different gear, for all this stuff, because it gives you that palette of information.
Right.
Go, oh, and now guess what? Like, that's why we used to see cartoons and people would act like now they're this person or they're that person. Yeah. Actors. What do you think Halloween's about? You get to go into character.
Yeah. Now we have cosplay for that.
Yeah. So guess what, man? Get that freaking what was it? What you want to Sun Coliseum?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, and then turn that sucker up and then watch. Apply the barbecue sauce with a mop. It doesn't have to be with a freaking, a scalpel, right?
That is so awesome.
I mean, man, let it fly, Jack. And then you go, oh shit, that's what that was. He was letting it out.
Yeah. 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 And speaking of amps, I was going to say, you've got kind of like the quintessential collection of Suns and acoustics and SVTs and like, no, not so much.
No, you're right. What I don't have though, I don't have an SVT. Okay. Early on when I worked with Billy Preston in 75 and 76, rock and roll, I had 2 SVTs.
Okay.
And I played through Tycho Bray bottoms with the 2 JBL 15s, the 10s, and the bullet horns and the
oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
And what was I was playing through them and they caught on fire one time. And so what they did is they said, okay, and I had 2 roadies. And my first roadie, I forgot his name, but we used to call him 15 and a half because that was his shoe size. Right. So 15 and a half said, you know what we got to do, Bobby? I said, what? He goes, we take apart your amps every gig. And when we truck them, we take all the tubes out. And then when we get to the gig, we put them back in.
No kidding.
And I said, whatever, cool.
Yeah.
So that's when I used to use SVTs. I've used SVTs when I played with the Paul Kantner version of Starship.
Okay.
Because that's rock and roll, man. You want to play rock and roll? You want the note to go boom, and man, it killed.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I would work with Etta James, there would be a 15 and SVT, an A10 cabinet. And between you and I'd hit the note and I can run across the stage faster than the note would get to the other side.
Yeah. 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 Right.
Then I saw Rocco Prestia playing 2 A10 cabinets on his side with an SVT, playing What Is and all that stuff. Man, you talking about hearing some F and bass.
Yeah.
That boom, beat, boom, boom, beep, beep, boom, beep. Ooh, so my heart's there.
Yeah.
Right behind me now, I don't know if you can see it. I have a flatback 810.
Yep.
Right? And I don't have an SVT. That's why I've been trying to figure out, is it a 4 Pro or should I go with the tube SVT? Because I want now, you know what I mean? Because there's certain sounds that you have to have that to achieve that extra.
Yeah.
And not, you don't want to blow yourself up, but you need to get that inspiration of that weight or that sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go.
No, I was going to say that's a tough one because the 4 Pro being you still get the warmth of an SVT from a 4 Pro, but you get the immediacy because it's a solid state power section.
Right. The quickness.
Yeah. Yeah. Versus.
But like I said, I'm not, heck, be honest. Oh yeah, I like one of each. But wait a second, man. Reality is reality. But where I really, what I love and I have is I have, what do you call that first year that the Ampeg amp? I have one of those. That's that brown one.
This the Super 8 or Super 800, I think it is. Yeah.
See it?
Yep. Yep.
Man, that's got a 12 and a toilet seat back, and it's in a cabinet like a podium cabinet.
Yep.
And it's got more low end than my B18 that's sitting over here.
Right. Right.
It's just a different sound.
Yeah.
So and then I have a B15 Navy bean, like a 61 or whatever, and then I have a 64 checkerboard.
Yep. Okay.
Right. So that's my Ampeg stash of the small amp, the studio-ish.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And nothing sounds like those in a P bass.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right. I remember you brought the Super 8 to Bass Player Live one year.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No. I was and even as old as that amp is, it sounded right.
You know it makes music.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Without trying to sound like the hills are alive with the sound of music.
Yeah.
When you hear those sounds, you just go, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
And that one, the what'd you call it? The Bassmaster, or what do you call it?
I think it's a Super 800.
Okay, that whatever that is, it likes guitars, and it loves jazz basses. Like that amplifier, likes everybody.
Yeah.
But the B15s and the 18, there's certain ones that just super shine.
Yep.
So those with the P bass shine. But that one there, it goes, I never been a bass or a guitar I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. It gets along with everything.
It does. that one is definitely can't we all get along?
Yeah. Yeah. Kirk Powers is commenting to your comment on the SVT4. How you know Kirk from
he's the guy that I met Jimmy Capolo through, and he plays with what's the Gibson? Debbie, is that her name?
Debbie Gibson. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, Kirk's a great player, great friend, and
we got to get Kirk on here too at some point too when he's not so busy as well. But Kirk, you hit me up and we'll get you on here to talk.
Now you owe me $50. Gotta make it somehow.
Hey, listen, we're almost out of time here.
All right.
And it doesn't seem like we've been talking for an hour, which is amazing because like you and I get together at NAMM shows, man, we could talk for hours and hours and hours.
Let's go on the road, man. Let's go do the Lewis and Martin.
You know what? Dom had to split, so he's out of here. It's the Dino and Bobby show now.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But if there's any other questions you want to hit me with before we want to, and I don't want to say like hi to Detroit bass players and Craig and Big Ive and Steve Evans, and if I miss somebody, you miss 15 people. So everybody out there, all the biscuits that I know in the Bay Area, biscuits and all over the world. Hey.
No, I know. It's like we didn't even get halfway through like all the people that you've played with too, and it's amazing like who you and I want to stop calling it, and I do this with with the musicians that I work with. It's like, yeah, I play with that person. It was great playing with you, or after a gig, hey man, it was great playing with. I like to say now, it was great making music with you. Yeah, I played with you and I played this, but you're making music with people. That's the long and short of it, I guess, the point I'm trying to get across. So all the people that you've made music with over the years too. That's what I was trying to say. We haven't touched upon some of those people yet.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the Karate Kid because I didn't know how to play any of those genres or styles.
Right.
And it was almost like wax on, wax off. After you do the gig, there's no more gig. What do you do with the stuff? Well, now I can go, you know what? Now it's part of my DNA, but I didn't understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was your schooling. That was your education.
I did gigs. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I didn't play with Miles. I played with Sly. Okay. I didn't work with Aretha Franklin, but I worked with Etta James.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's not a gank or anything. I was blessed and lucky to learn music playing live at concerts and clubs and recordings and TV shows with those people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the education right there. I was going to ask at the beginning of this. I was one of the questions I was going to ask you is if you had, if you went to school, if you had any formal training, but you did go to school. That was your formal training on the
Yeah,
site learning.
that's right. And the other thing is, without trying to sound like a biscuit, I paid for my education. That was
Absolutely.
whether I made money or I made a living at it. Well, guess what? Here's my magic beans. I
Yeah.
didn't do this or that, but it's in here, and
Yeah.
that's it's able to transfer.
Yeah.
My
Yep.
love, passion for these people are not here anymore. Some are, and I call them up and I go, "Hey, man, thanks for listening." They go, "Are you okay? You're not going to die, are you? Or you're not going to kill yourself." And I'm thanking them for letting me, learning me, or to be part of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what left is my gear. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, that's when not, there's more, but I'm happy. That's,
Yeah.
it was the music business and other things that disappointed me about music. It wasn't music.
Yeah.
It wasn't
True.
music.
Yep. Yep. No, that's very true, man. Wow. You got like, you got like 5 more minutes? I want to,
So,
oh,
do it
so,
another time too. Go ahead.
oh, absolutely. We'll definitely have you back on too.
So,
There's a, it's not, it's, I don't want to call it a game, but so at the end of every episode, I ask these 10 or 11 rapid fire questions.
all right.
So I'll ask you a question and you have to give me the first answer that comes to mind.
Knee jerk. Bang.
Ready? Okay. So question 1, P bass or jazz bass?
Jazz bass.
Okay. Passive or active?
Passive.
Okay. Rounds or flats?
I have all strings.
Okay. B15, SVT, or Pro Series? That's kind of an unfair question, but
Well,
we'll say B15 or SVT. How's that?
right now I'm gonna have to go with what I have until I get to make music with an SVT. So hopefully sooner than later. But right now, it's the smaller amps because that's what I got.
Okay. All right. Cable or wireless?
Cable.
Okay. Pick or fingers?
Pick fingers and thumb.
Okay.
And feet if you have to. I don't care.
Whatever gets a sound out of the dang thing.
No problem.
Yep. IEMs or floor wedges?
Oh, I never used in-ear monitors because to me, in-ear monitors, it's just a different day. That's studio.
Yep. Yep.
So monitors.
So
And I just have to get out of the way. I just ask for kick, snare, and hi-hat, and a little bit of vocals.
okay.
And then whatever that you might need for chordal center.
Okay.
And very light on everything.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. No bass in the wedges because you have your amp.
I know my ass doesn't have ears, but it's up enough where I can hear it.
Pedals or no pedals?
No pedals, because pedals are like drugs. It's like drug abuse. Drugs aren't bad, but if I'm worried about what pedal I'm going to step on, I'm not playing.
There you go. Window or aisle?
Aisle, in case you have to go to the bathroom.
At our age, absolutely. High bunk or low bunk?
Oh, shit. How about no bunk?
No bunk. Okay.
You sleep on a bus, man. You're a freaking Planet of the Apes are aliens. You know what I mean? But remember though, if you're going to go ahead in the bus, feet forward.
Feet forward, always.
That's more important than up or down.
Yep. Always feet forward. That's Yep. And ask me how I know.
No, go there, man.
Black with white piping or silver and blue? Talking about Ampeg.
Oh man, give me that old shit.
The silver and blue.
Silver and the blue, man. The Stones and everybody else. The Faces. All give me give me that silver and blue.
There you go. Okay. And then last question, and this isn't a quick fire question, but I've incorporated this into a lot of the questioning. But best place to get a chicken sandwich in the United States?
Man, if you can't make it yourself, right? There's a couple of them, right?
Okay.
When Popeyes first came out with that chicken sandwich, they had to have, that was a good sandwich.
Yep.
When the chicken sticked out of both sides,
Yep.
and that big pickle.
There you go.
What?
And now we're all going to leave hungry. Cool.
So please, if you want to get a hold of me, Facebook Messenger or Instagram.
Yep. In fact, I just had, there's your Instagram handle.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to see if Haji's going to post your Facebook handle here as well, but they can get in touch with you here, Bobby.
Yeah, because I would like to come do. I saw that you're doing something tomorrow.
I'm doing a master class down at Montgomery County Community College in Blue Bell.
Because when I grow up, that's what I want to do. I want to come to schools, colleges, or different people's houses or events. So if there's something that we can work out, get a hold of me, because
absolutely,
it's time to eat some food and have some fun.
That's it. It's all about having fun and good food.
You have a great gig. I want to come see that someday when you do that.
Well, I've never done this before. I was invited by Bruce Kaminsky, the guy that does kid basses, Bruce is actually a fantastic bass player in himself.
Yeah.
And he put me in touch. Here's your Facebook handle too, by the way.
Thank you.
So yeah, he put me in touch with these folks about coming down and talking a little bit about music business, and who knows, you might see me on a college tour sometime soon. I don't know. We'll see what it turns into.
I'll be your assistant. I'll be your roadie,
We'll
man. We'll eat food and laugh.
No. We're gonna do the Dino and Bobby show.
Man, look, because get it while you can, while we're still here, because you know what? I'll shut up.
Oh.
Shut up, my goofy, But yeah, so man, this is so much fun. I'm so lucky and blessed, and thank you for having me on here. Oh, say hi to Juan.
Yeah. Is
man,
did Juan comment on here?
I don't know if he did or not, but man, what a great spirit of information and playing his soul. He's a soul biscuit, man.
Yeah. Juan was on a while ago, and it's fun. He sends me texts almost every day, like of a pedal or of an amp. He's like, "What do you think of this? I want this guy." I love the guy. He is a true brother.
Yeah, and there's so many, so I don't want to leave anybody out. So to everybody,
Yeah, I will.
MTD, all I'll be leaving people out. Tom Rebecca, a lot of, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Vinny Federa.
Man.
So anyway, I'll just and George at F bass.
That's right.
And Leo Fender.
Absolutely. You got it right the first time. We're just all improving on it.
Look,
or not.
G&L Music Man, RP J Artelli. I mean, come on. That's
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Bobby, what can I say? Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, man. This is awesome. And we'll circle back on this too, I promise.
Hi to my gal Kimmy and Chris at bass up front.
There. Oh, there you go too. Yeah.
Kevin. No trouble. All right. See, I'm blowing.
We'll post all the credits too. And anybody that wants to follow through on this will be reposted on Facebook and YouTube too. So if you want to check it out.
No, that'd be great. And anything I can, try to help with.
Yeah. Right on. Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much. Man, Aaron, thank you for putting this all together. Haji in the background for posting all the links. Dom had to split because he's a rock star for the next couple of months. He's traveling down to South America and Mexico. He's on tour with The Calling.
I know. So, he dropped us like a little, because he went with Roger Daltrey's bass player. Left us like stepchildren.
Left us like a half-eaten chicken sandwich.
Ooh, Lord.
Thanks, everyone.